Can you outline the mission of this first Porto Protocol conference?
Well, the opportunity that we have here at the Climate Change Leadership Solutions for the Wine Industry in 2019 is really to gather people from across the world who are already very active in producing solutions that help mitigate climate change, and to be able to share ideas and encourage more people to action.
Very good. As a winemaker in the Douro, can you describe the range of climates you work with, how these are changing, and the ultimate impact on the wine in the glass?
Well, the reality that we face in the Douro Valley is that we are seeing extremes of climate. We see it from cold to hot to rainfall happening in very short bursts or disrupting the normal pattern of growing grapes. And this has become accelerated and very obvious in the last decade. And to the extent that it would be fair to say that perhaps in the last 3 harvests alone, production in the Douro has been affected by at least 20% simply because of climatic activity. And the challenge is that if we look at the averages, if we determine the average rainfall in a year, there hasn't been a big change. But if we look at the fact, for example, that last year, in one afternoon in late May, 12% of the annual rainfall fell in a single hour, you get to see how the average statistics don't tell you the real story of what is happening.
And it's interesting, isn't it? That's affecting your bottom line as a business and the amount that you can produce, but it doesn't necessarily impact the quality of the wine that the customer gets.
No, I think that's an important point. I mean, in that single hour, the damage to our vineyards and buildings probably was in the order of about 400,000 euros, if I was going to, put a figure on it. And much of that is not covered by insurance. It is just a cost of doing business, cost of being a farmer. But the reality is, of course, is that what we are still producing, nonetheless, is still very high quality. So the quality issues and the quantity issues are indeed quite separate. But I think, again, if I looked just specifically at last year, one of the challenges was that we had to treat our vines 9 times. So because of the change of climate, we had to do more treatments. More treatments means more applications of chemicals. It means the tractors moving through the vineyard more frequently. That means that we're producing more carbon to, in fact, offset the fact that the climate is changing. And this is a cycle that ultimately descends to a position of greater problem. And if clearly what we need to do is to try to break that cycle.
Are there solutions that you're personally interested in that could emerge from this meeting?
Well, I think that as a business leader, we are already doing as much as we can. We're trying to tackle water problems. We are saving vast amounts of water in our business. We are generating over 75% of the electricity needs from 3 solar plants. We're kind of doing the obvious things. Sometimes what we're really looking for, in a sense, is other people's ideas where they are tackling, for example, tackling water, saving water, but using a totally new technology that we haven't thought about, that we haven't yet installed in our own business. And so this is at the very heart of what the Porto Protocol is about. It's about sharing. It's about sharing solutions, because I'm not going to be a better competitor with another wine region simply because I'm saving more litres of water tomorrow than I am today. That is not going to be the difference. The difference is I'm probably going to be helping the planet a bit more, and that is to the greater benefit of everybody.
As an industry, where does wine fit into the bigger picture of agriculture and food security? And I say that because in the past you have mentioned that you're open to other industries interacting with the Porto Protocol.
Yeah, I think a couple of points I'd make about the wine industry and how it sits within agriculture. Firstly, it's the only branded agricultural product that exists in the world. And I think that's important because it gives us an opportunity to communicate direct to consumers the responsible position that wine takes, and the fact that wine often looks after very remote regions of the world. That's to the positive. But I think if we stay just within the wine industry and don't look for solutions from other agricultural industries that are facing similar challenges, we're missing a lot of opportunity to learn. Because there isn't a farmer anywhere on the planet that isn't, by definition, tackling some way or other this challenge of climate change. And with that, of course, food security. What I found very interesting when President Obama was here in the July event last year was he mentioned the issue of food security and climate change as being the principal driving factor for migration. Indeed, he made a point that said that you can't build a wall high enough to keep people out if the climate is going to destroy the means of people to sustain themselves. So this is a real issue, and it affects all agricultural businesses. We can learn from each other. We're starting in the wine industry. I hope we can embrace many, many other agricultural products in this, and we'll learn from them.
You're producing outstanding wines against a background of risk that is hard to grasp for, I'm talking about consumers. How do you try to communicate that, if at all, to consumers?
Well, I think the consumer is becoming increasingly aware of this issue and will be looking to choose brands that are in fact helping to solve the problem. I think it's going to become an important driver for the wine industry. And I think there's a good reason for that. You know, the consumer really cares, and we need to embrace that, and we need to respond to that. Now, as a family wine business with 327 years of history, I think I can safely say that we understand the long-term game, certainly as it pertains to the past, and hopefully as we look to build to the future. I hope that people will make a more general view about the importance of the wine industry, but obviously very specifically I hope they will give credit to us and to other port producers who are trying to look after the very beautiful Douro Valley. We're all in this together.
When you wrap up this conference, what are the potential outcomes that would satisfy you the most?
Well, I think when we complete the conference, if everybody goes away and does something, and it doesn't matter how much it is, small, it'll help. If it's big, it'll help more. And if the press that are attending, and we're lucky enough to have press from all over the world attending, that they go and amplify the stories that they've heard, then I think it will be to the positive for us as an industry and to humanity.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.